Hi all. So I've been thinking about how I choose short stories that are going to be fantastic for my classes, and probably more importantly, why those stories stand the test of time with me. So unbeknown to me, there was a subconscious sort of list of criteria there. So I'm going to share that with you now. Straight into it with the first thing, and that is the length. Now, I know that's not particularly academic or intellectual or really cool of me to say that. However, think about your photocopying budget. That's a reality, right? So, if a story is longer than 4 pages, alarm bells are going off in my mind, because 4 pages and under, I can shrink down. So I can put 2 pages on one sheet, and then I turn that sheet over and I can fit the other 2 pages on. So a 4 page short story is doable on one piece of paper. Um, Obviously, for seniors, a lot of the time that's going to be a bit longer, because you want something meaty for them. But generally, 4 pages, I'm happy. The other thing is, can I break it down into chunks if I need to? Is it easy to chunk it up? And length has something to do with that. And also, especially for the juniors, let's face it, seniors too. Is the story too long? So long that it becomes laborious to get them to find certain things in the story, certain language features or certain turning points or contrast, that kind of thing, if you're getting them to look through the story for things. So is that going to become laborious? So that's something there to consider as well. And of course, as well, is that ability to stick with the text. So that's going to depend on the class, on your students. How long will they read before they dip out? Or how long can you read to them before they lose interest? So length is a necessary evil. Okay, so the second thing is symbolism. The stories that have stood the test of time with me always have some kind of strong symbol in them. I love a good symbol because they help students understand metaphorical meanings, because they can see the meaning. It's like a tangible thing, great for drawing and stuff, but I'll talk about visual stuff later. And the other thing is that students find them quite easy to write about and connect to that main idea. So a good symbol is what is key for me. Now for the fun part, and that's the visual side of things. I love a short story that has really strong visual elements, or things that you can do visual activities with. So let's put on my glasses here, because I'm going to read straight from the blog, which as always I'll link below. But I love visuals. I am a visual person. So anyway, so are there symbols, images, events, characters that students could depict visually, because they're really strong there? There's lots of description about them. They are real characters. They're something, we can see them. Is there an element of contrast that students could springboard from with visual presentations? And link below, I've got a freebie of something that I did up for Witi Himara's Seahorse in the Reef, and where I put the quotations for how beautiful the seahorse was on one side, and the quotations about the pollution on the other side of the page, and changed it up with the font. So a nice curly pretty font for the seahorse, and a really evil looking font for the pollution side, and then the layout as well and the font size showed that the pollution was taking over the seahorse and his little pool. So things like that. So they lend themselves to visuals because there's real contrast. This was before the pollution came and this was after the pollution. So that contrast is really great for that yin and yang type visual stuff. Are there clear? So yeah, before and after elements. Even when I talk about visuals, you can include infographics like Venn diagrams and that as well. So again, that before and after Venn diagram, or comparing two characters or two settings. Are there clear key events, turning points that could be mapped in a visual flow chart with infographics in mind? Is there a setting or a journey that could be drawn, and the carpet in Roald Dahl's The Wish is fantastic for that. I always get students to draw that. And the journey that the boy takes in Patricia Grace's Beans, really fabulous for this. Could the main idea be depicted relatively easily in a visual form? And that harks back to the old days where we used to do static images, depicting the main idea of our text. The good old days, just saying. Are there metaphorical elements that could be fun to represent, to present visually as well? So lots of things there. If it's got some visual stuff there going on, I'm all for it. My fourth thing, which has actually become an obsession over the last few years, and that is structure. I used to hate structure. I didn't really get it. But now I love structure. By the way, there's a freebie for that, and I'll link that below as well. Hopefully I'll remember. Anyway, structure. So is there, for example, really quite clear links between the beginning and the end of the story? So you can match things up where things are completely different, or things are the same, or they're coming back to that object, that was at the beginning of the story, that kind of thing. So links between the beginning and the end, that's a big thing for me. Contrast is a big thing for me. So, in the first half of the story, the infatuation was fun. And in the second half of the story, that infatuation actually became an evil obsession, an unhealthy obsession. So contrast is fantastic. And another thing is, the journey, the plot structure, how it progresses throughout, and if there are clear stages or not. I really like the clear stages, that obvious progression. Having said that, I also like things like stream of consciousness stories. So, but structure is a very, very big thing for me. Often when I'm about to teach one of my favourite short stories, I get excited about it simply because I can't wait to delve into a particular excerpt, a particular passage from it. So that's actually become an important thing for me with my short stories, and whether or not they stand the test of time. So I need things that have that passage in, that I can pull out and maybe put in the middle of a page, so that students can annotate around them. So I'm looking for a passage that has, fabulous vocabulary, language features, like figurative language, colloquialisms, things like that. A passage that has things in it that show a clear link to the main idea, and that's where we might have something about the symbol, or a change in a character, or a thought that the character had. Change is not so obvious in a short story, but so things that I can take out and we can analyze, and then we can link them to the main idea. So I talked about the links between the beginning and end before with structure. Same thing, if I can take a passage from the beginning and a passage from the end, put them side by side on, say, an A4 landscape page, and then we can go, hey, well, where are the differences, where are the similarities there, and what does this mean? What are they showing us with this change? What's the author showing us? So having those passages that you can pull out and really get into, that's key for me too. And number 6 is clear literary elements. So why? Because a short text is a gateway into a long text. And if students understand what the literary elements are, so your plot structure, characterization, setting, symbolism, main idea, then they have some structure, are able to structure their understanding. And if you can teach with that structure, I think it makes it a lot easier for them as well. So if they are nailing that, understanding that in your short text, then later on when you go to do your novel study, they will better understand those things. So of course, though, we want to push that critical thinking, that understanding a bit further. So I think that under literary elements, we can also add things like purpose and audience, and of course our context, the author's context. So a story that has some clear literary elements in it, gold. Okay, the next thing is, I love a story with a good, strong message, and I don't even think I need to put that as one of my criteria, but the message has to be about something positive, or it has to be something that makes us think. However, one that is achieved not through dragging students through topics like domestic violence or child neglect and things. I just don't think that students who are in your class that suffer that every day need to read about that in a story at school. So I steer clear away from that kind of thing. A good dystopian text about, death and destruction of the entire universe, fantastic, love it. Or something that's positive like Patricia Grace's Beans, fantastic. Something that gives us a message, but maybe in a humorous way or an amazing way, like shocking, twist in the tail kind of stuff. Fantastic again. The paper parcel by Owen Marshall, I absolutely love because it's about the way that we are trying to fit in at school and about how our parents embarrass us at school and things like that, but it's done in a really funny way. But the message is very clear. So I think, choose your stories with a great message, but they don't have to drag kids through what they went through this morning. Okay, so that is a very, very definite criteria for me. That is unbreakable. Okay, if you've made it this far, apologies for the quality of this video, which is zooming in and out and things because something is broken on my laptop that I control it with. But anyway, the last one, number 8, connection to the wider world. Now, what text doesn't have a connection to the wider world? But what I'm talking about here is that context that is the catch cry at the moment. So remember that there can be two contexts, the context of the story, where it's set, what's going on there, and also the context of the author. What is it in that author's life that has motivated them to write about this topic? So it's got to be a meaty context, I think, something you can hang those connections on, because then, of course, students better understand the main idea, the audience, and the author purpose. Now, I've got a little freebie that I will link below, and it shows you context and the flow through to main idea and audience purpose and all of that, and the techniques. So that is linked below as well. Anyway, hope that helps and helps you choose short stories. Beginning teachers, that might be helpful for you. When you have those golden short stories, you have that collection, and quite frankly, when a colleague wants you to try one of their short stories, man, it's really hard to let another one in, I find. But if they get in, then they're in. So I think one of the big things that we can do is really get those collections of short stories together and make sure when you get them, you hold on to them, because they're so easy to lose, and it's so difficult to find the anthology from where it came. So anyway, enjoy your short stories. Love a good short story, and I hope that this helps a little bit. See ya.